everyone. Welcome to At Home with Sally. I'm Sally Clarkson, and I have the biggest privilege in the world to be with so many friends from all over the world who join me every week to listen to my stories, inspiration, biblical encouragement, and I am just so glad that you're here today. Thanks so much for joining me. Hi, my friends. I'm so excited that you joined me again today. It's just such a privilege to have this platform in the sense that I feel like I have this whole community of people who are idealistic, who are growing, who are adventuresome, excited about their lives. And it's just really a privilege for me to be with you today. I have lots of stuff in store for us today. As I promised last week, I'm going to tell you about two other books that I'm reading right now. Actually, I'll tell you all four books. And I'm going to talk about some kind of a recipe and some kind of music, and then lots of different thoughts on different things. But I'm excited to start out today with a sweet friend of mine. And I'm going to let her tell you all about herself, but she has the most wonderful book coming out soon that is really captures my vision for life. So, hi, Whitney, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, we are thrilled to have you with us. So, tell everybody who you are, what you're doing, where you live, and all about your book, and just whatever you wish that people could know about you, because it's been a delight for me to get to know you little by little.
Sure. So my name is Whitney Newby, and I am married to Sean, and we have four children who are currently 12, 10, 7, and 5. And
Wow.
yes, I love these ages, honestly. It's been
Mm.
such a joy. But I am the founder of Brighter Day Press, and we create gospel-centered, literature-rich resources for family discipleship. And I am also the author of the forthcoming book called Lift Your Eyes, and it is a devotional for moms based on Psalm 121. So on Instagram and through social media, my passion is just encouraging women who are just a few steps behind me. And I have been so inspired by you through the years, Sally, through your writing and your speaking. And so it's just a joy to talk with you.
Well, it's so fun to be with you today. I feel like you're in the golden years. Uh,
Oh,
the when I look back at my time with my children, it was so fun when they were beyond babyhood in the sense of I enjoyed the baby years and I kissed them and hugged them and loved them to death.
yes.
But at 5, 7, 10, and 12 or something, is that
Yes, that's right. Yep.
they're beginning to ask good questions. You're beginning to see I can do this, but
Yes.
also they still want to be close to you, and the hormones
Yes.
haven't quite taken over yet.
It's true.
I
It
feel like
is true.
those were the years that I wish I had known more to be able to really enjoy them and celebrate them. And so I'm excited knowing that
Yes.
you're experiencing a lot to share with women. Well,
Yes.
I love the concept of your new book. And tell us how did you develop the concept for this book, and what do you really hope that it will do for other women?
Sure. So I think I developed the concept out of my own need as a mom to
Mm.
be lifting my eyes to Christ in my need, because motherhood has been the most sanctifying experience of my life. And Psalm 121, which is what the book is centered around, is a psalm that has been such a gift to me in my walk as my journey as a mom, because if you know anything about the Psalms, the Psalm 121 is part of 15 Psalms called the Songs of Ascent that Jewish pilgrims would sing as they were traveling to Jerusalem for these annual feasts. And on their journey, they would have faced a lot of kind of scary things like erratic weather and wild animals and thieves hiding in the hills. And so they were singing these promises of who God was, even in the face of fear. And so we can learn so much about that on our journey as believers, our journey as moms, that we can choose to sing God's promises in the face of fear and remind ourselves who God is. And so Psalm 121 is only 8 verses, but the promises in there have just ministered to me so much as a mom that basically I took the psalm and I broke it up into 8 sections and kind of looked at an attribute of God for each section, so that God is our helper, our comforter, our provider. And then under each of those attributes, there are 5 chapters or devotionals specific to moms that are with titles like "When You Feel Forgotten," "When You Feel Overstimulated or Overwhelmed," "When You Feel Like You've Failed as a Mom." And the idea is to lift our eyes to the God who is all of these things and promises to help us on our journey as moms. So I wrote this for moms, for younger moms. I also wrote it as a reminder of for myself, because I'm still on this journey. I'm always learning to lean on Jesus and to lift my eyes to him.
Mhm. Well, I love that. And, my heart is to really cherish and love these precious women and
Yes.
give them a way forward. So, a couple of different thoughts came to my mind. As I look back on this whole long marathon of motherhood, and what I
Mhm.
didn't know is that it's never over.
Yeah.
In other words, if you are close to your children and want to be a coach, so to speak, a spiritual coach, a lover, a mentor,
Right.
then you're going to be that until you go to be with the Lord.
It's true.
And so, as you look back, I realize that a lot of women will say, "Boy, this is a long journey, and I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting it to be this hard, and
Right.
been such a challenge." What are some of the ways that you have felt uh, a challenge in your own life? By the way, I love the Psalm. I live in the mountains in Colorado,
Yes.
and every time I drive away from my home and look out, I see Pikes Peak.
Yes. Oh,
So,
that's amazing.
and the Psalm starts out, I lift my eyes. And then the way I memorized it many years ago was a different version, but I lift my eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help.
Oh,
My
I
help
love that.
cometh from the Lord, the maker of heavens and earth. And
Yes,
it's such a great anchor for
it
us,
is.
um, to really uh, be able to say, God, I can lift up my eyes to him. He is there. Okay, so
Yes.
I know you just moved to North Carolina at probably the worst time you could possibly move there.
Yes.
I'm sure that was
Yes.
hard for you. Tell us a little bit about that, and just what would you find to be some of the hardest areas in your life?
Sure. So actually we just moved to Greenville, South Carolina
Oh,
from
South Carolina, that's
Texas,
right.
South Carolina. And actually we moved into our house, and 6 weeks later, Hurricane Helene hit our area, which was just really unheard of because we live really in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's like we don't normally have hurricanes. And so we lost our van in that storm to a tree that fell on it and had some property damage. Thankfully, our family was safe and all of that. But there, yeah, I've been surprised by just how many seasons of transition our family has had. And I know you can relate with that, Sally. And just, when you feel like you're out of a rhythm and you kind of lose control of your situation, that
Right.
can be really hard. And I know a few years ago, right after I had my fourth baby, we had 4 kids who were 6 and under. I was starting to homeschool, and I was working in the afternoons and evenings as a nurse at a local hospital. And some of well, probably all of your listeners have been in a season like that too, where it just feels like how I look back now and think, how how did we possibly
How'd
get
you
through
live
that?
through it? Yeah.
Yes. And Jesus assures us in this world you will have trouble. We're not promised a smooth path. And sometimes it feels like God allows us to face these situations so that we learn to cast ourselves on Him. And I learned that in that season that, I needed Him and His word more than ever. And even if it was just, listening to the Bible or memorizing scripture in the middle of the night as I was nursing a baby or pushing a stroller,
Mhm.
I learned to cast myself on him and to say, Lord, I feel like I have this empty cup. And, sometimes, um, well, I look back now and I see that he really met me, that there is this holy place where my need and his grace meet. And he supplied me with what I needed for that day and that season.
So how did you learn all this? I mean, how did you learn scripture? How did you learn what it
Oh
looks
my
like
goodness.
to trust God? Because I have so many precious women who write me letters and they want to know, what does it look like to live by faith? What does it look like
Yeah,
to trust in God? Because it seems sometimes just like words, um,
right.
especially during some of the dark times in life.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I have,
Do you
as
grow
you,
up with
yeah,
scripture?
I did grow up in a ministry family. My parents are believers. They're actually in music ministry. And so my sister and I traveled with them, and I saw this modeled beautifully in their lives that
Mm,
that they read their Bibles. I mean, even, just coming down in the morning and seeing them reading their Bibles, that has a profound impact. And that's
mm.
something that I want to pass on to my own children, that that is priority even in really busy, really hard seasons. But also through prayer, I think God invites us to pray continually. And that doesn't mean that we're always on our knees, but it means we're in a constant conversation. And sometimes that's been in front of my children when, I feel anger rising and I'm like, Lord, will you please give me self-control in this
Right.
moment? And saying that aloud. And it doesn't take long for them to take that on and remind me when I'm like, when we're having a rough time and they're like, Mom, I think we need to stop and pray, they
Yeah,
are,
that is
they are
sweet.
good accountability. But I've just learned through my life and trial and error that I need him every moment of every day. And if I stray too far from the word, or I am, my soul is dry, I cannot be a good mom in my own strength. And
Right.
so I think that has driven me to make it a priority and to read and listen to scripture daily as much as I can.
Now you are very blessed, and I am very blessed that somehow this was modeled to us before we had children.
Yes.
As I think that once I became a believer, I had grown up in church, but didn't
Hmm.
understand until I was in college. And at that point, someone just showed me what it looked like to open the Bible and to study scripture and to memorize verses and
Hmm.
to really be able um, to start gathering the wisdom that I think that scripture is God's vocabulary to us.
Yes.
So I just started gathering it. And, I think that it's a way of life. It's not that your feelings are always the right way that they should be. It's
Right.
not that you always know the answers, but you know that God is trustworthy and that
Yes.
he can really help you. And it is a long journey, and all of us face difficulties and challenges. Well, one thing I really want to tell everybody, and you are amazing. You are a nurse and you're a writer but I learned that you were an artist because you took a photograph of mine from Oxford and you turned it into the most beautiful stationery for me. You
Yes.
did the scene. And how in the world do you fit in the time to paint, to speak and write? And how do you make your priorities for that precious family that you have? How do you get it all done? What's the secret
Oh,
to being
my
able to?
goodness. It
I do
is
love it
full of,
also that the book has paintings in it.
yes. So the book is fully illustrated throughout. I think there are 60 watercolor illustrations. And my hope is that it will give a sense of peace and rest that I'm hoping the words convey, but also the art. So yeah, how do you get it all done? How do you prioritize? For me, honestly, I wake up really early and my
Oh
kids
no,
come
that's
down.
my secret too.
Is it? It's the
I would get
only
up before
time.
everybody. Yeah.
Yes. And actually, our kids are not allowed to come down until 7:30. So I know I have that time between the time I wake up and 7:30 to just sit in the quiet and meet with the Lord and then start to get some things done. But I've just learned I'm such a better mom when I am a present mom. And so kind of delineating in my day, okay, when we homeschool. And so the hours between, 7:30 when they come down and noon, about those hours, I am fully devoted to them. I put my phone in the other room.
Good
I'm
for
looking
you.
in their eyes, all of those things, because almost anything can wait until we're done doing that. And then in the afternoons, they have a rest time every day, even though they're not napping anymore. But we all kind of need that separation from each other. And I'm able to get more work done then. I don't do this perfectly. I will be the first to admit. But when I do have those, those structured times of day when I have, this is the time to be present with my kids. This is the time that I work. I am such a better mom, wife, all of the roles that I have. So yeah, just building in
I
those rhythms.
I love that. I'm kind of surprised at how alike you and I are. Um,
Oh,
I think that if you really believe in what God is calling you to do, whether it's home education, whatever it is, your work, whatever,
yes,
you will have more energy to do that. And
that's true.
I would get up sometimes 4:30, sometimes 5, and actually Clay would be with the kids until
Hmm.
about 7:30. And
Okay,
so
yeah, that's
several
perfect.
several days a week, and there was even a portion of my life, just a very small portion, when I could run quickly to a French restaurant that was really quiet. And
Yes.
it was just a little cafe, but I could get a little piece of quiche and a cup of
Mhm.
coffee, and 3 days a week I could work, 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 work. And then
Yes.
when I came back at 7:30, 7:45, I was fully on. And then of course
Yes.
we had the quiet hour in the afternoon, which I think I had a basket of books that for each child
Yes.
that they would be reading through. And it made them into readers. The funniest thing is, I
Oh,
feel like a lot of our rhythms and practices helped our children grow these habits that
yes.
have served them. So I love that.
Oh, I love that. I wonder if I learned all that from you. You've been in my earbuds for a long time, so
Oh,
I can't take credit.
oh no, I think wise women copy wise women.
Yes, absolutely.
Every personality is different, and so we're going to live our stories differently. But I love that you do that. That's interesting. Well, I just love your heart. I love what you do. Tell us if there's any one thing that you wish that all of these women would know right now where they are in their lives.
Mm. You know, a, a a scripture that I've been clinging to recently is 2 Peter 1:3, which says that his divine power has given us everything we need for life and godliness, or there's different translations. But I've thought about that as a mom, and that I don't have what I need within myself to, conjure up this, the wisdom and the strength and the joy that I need. And yet, he does. And so when we look to him for what we need, he promises to give it. And that's an amazing promise.
Mm. That's so true. I really think that the one thing I would want to emphasize, which is what you do with all of your book and with everything that you talk about, and that is that the most important thing that we can accomplish in our lifetime with our children
Mhm.
is to pass on a living faith where
Yes.
they don't just hear the words when we do devotions with them, but they see us choosing because of the word in our lives and because of our love
Yes.
for God. They see us choosing to be patient, to love, to celebrate
Mhm.
life, to be gentle, to really be Christ in front of them,
Yes.
so they will love the Christ that we love. But anyway,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining me today. I love your heart. I love I have never painted. And nobody would ever want me to.
Oh,
And
well,
I think that adds dimension to your beautiful book. So where can people find you?
yeah, they can find me on brighterdaypress.com or on Instagram at brighterdaypress. And the book is Lift Your Eyes, and it's going to be wherever books are sold. And I was so honored that you have written the foreword. And so your name is on the front cover of the book, which is
Oh,
just
wow. I
incredible.
can't
Did
wait
you
to
know
get
that?
one. No,
Yes.
I did know it, but I haven't gotten
Yes.
one yet, but I look forward to it.
Okay.
I've
Thanks
seen
so
it.
much, Sally.
Oh, you're so welcome. It turned out beautiful.
Yes.
Well, God bless you, give you strength and energy, and enjoy these golden years.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you've enjoyed our time together today and that you'll join me next week. Be sure to look for more inspiration on my blog at sallyclarkson.com. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.